I just pre-ordered quite possibly one of the best lenses Nikon will ever make. So in this video, I'm gonna be explaining why. So let's jump right in and get right to it. What's up, y'all? It's Project Photography back with another video, and today, before we get started, make sure to follow all of my socials, including my brand new TikTok. So make sure to follow all of those socials somewhere over here. But the Nikon Z 135mm f1.8s Plena is a lens that I have been looking forward to for a really long time. I mean, for me, I've always wanted that extraordinary lens in your kit that when you take photos with, you just wow everyone around you and you're just mind blown by the photos you're able to take. I mean, this lens is built for incredible image quality, insane bokeh, and just an unbelievable experience of a lens to use. But as a landscape photographer, like, how does this lens play in to my landscape photography? First of all, I think a big reason why I got this lens is because I've been waiting for a lens like this for a long time. I mean, I have loved and seeing what the Nikon 135mm f2 DC, that's a D series lens, can do. But because the Nikon Z system doesn't have an AFD motor, it only has the AFS with the more modern f-mount lenses, you can't really use that lens on a Nikon Z camera, unless you manual focus, of course. But for me personally, I would like to have that autofocus because I just feel like it expands a lot more capabilities that you have versus just straight manual focus. The closest thing we had in the Nikon f-mount in terms of an AFS, G or E series lens was the Nikon 105mm f1.4. And now that is an incredible lens on its own, but I just feel like for me personally, I really wanted something that's more the telephoto side, because I compare it with something like the 24-70 and have that 135mm to act as more of my fast telephoto lens. I feel like it just make a really good combo and fit really well into my kit, because I've been actually looking for a 70-200 for quite some time, but I never really pulled the trigger on it because I felt like it'd be very redundant relative to something like my 24-200, which essentially covers the exact same range. But having a 135 would just be a totally different lens and a different experience that I just have never had before. Because I was looking a lot at the 50mm f1.2s because, to be honest with you, I really like those fast apertures. I feel like you're just able to get such unique images that, a 1.8 or a 2.8 just wouldn't allow you to get. Of course, having the smaller form factor of something like a 50mm f1.8, is very useful, but having that 50mm f1.2 is just a lens that blows people away. But now the fact that I pre-ordered the Nikon 135mm f1.8s Plena, I really don't have to get rid of my 50mm and I can run those two side by side. They're two primes for two very different reasons. For example, I'm using my 50mm a lot on my shoots when I'm going out shooting short form content or even the long form content, because I really like the focal length of a 75mm around an f2.8, give or take. I think it's a really great, focal length and aperture on my Nikon Z30. And on top of it, I'm able to use that alongside the 135 for video, because with a 135, I have a lot of client work where I'm creating short form content for them. A lot of it is static, so you don't really need to move them a lot. And I feel like a 135 would just help to create that nice sense of, separation from the background, as well as that nice sense of compression that a nice telephoto would get you. And for me, I am a sucker for compression. And I think this, just the fact that you're able to be so far away and have your subject as such a small part of the frame and be able to just still get that really beautiful separation allows me to just create interesting compositions and create unique photos that I feel like a lot of other lenses just wouldn't be able to do. Most of my lenses are about, around the 70mm and under, have a lot of wide angle lenses. This lens definitely fills a huge role in my bag that just simply doesn't exist or wasn't covered by any other lens that I had. That's kind of why I was looking at that 70-200. Also, it's great for portraiture, of course, because that is something I do more on the low key. I do a lot of headshots for people, and just, a lot of people ask me for portraiture way more than I honestly thought. And I feel like I do a pretty decent job at it, but I think it'll just give such a unique, different element and type of feel to the images I can get now. But last but not least, we really need to talk about it and its implications for landscape photography. As you guys know, I mainly use my 24-200 for all of my landscape photos, for my telephoto side at least. But this will just be such an interesting, unique lens to take on landscape shoots in particular. First of all, for Milky Way photography, it's going to be absolutely insane. I know a lot of people like using telephoto lenses for landscape photography. You're able to get just a different look when it comes to the Milky Way, and being an f1.8 will just make it so much easier to capture those long exposures. But even for just straight up landscape photography, I've been using that 24-200 for so long, and it's not a bad lens at all, and I'm absolutely going to keep it. This isn't replacing it by any means. But now we can just attack landscape photography a lot differently. We can have things in the foreground and blow it out, or maybe we can even get that nice separation between the water as well as, let's just say, a mountain in the background, like I was able to get with this photo. And this photo in particular, I think, was a big inspiration for me in order to, you know, see what a 135 can look like. In terms of getting that nice background separation, you know, I'm always an advocate of shooting at f8, and like 99% of the time, I am definitely, you know, doing that, unless it's like Astro or something just totally different. I'm always shooting at f8. But I think with a 135 f1.8, we're able to just get such different photos. I'm able to actually include some nice background separation and stuff to the images. And I think 135 is a really nice focal length actually for landscape photography telephoto side of things. And, you know, when I'm actually shooting with my 24-200, you know, of course you're able to get that perfect composition, but a lens like this will definitely test me when it comes to my skills as a landscape photographer. It'll provide such a great breadth of options and a little bit of a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you, in order to capture just different images. And that's what I'm really looking forward to in a lens like this. Yes, it is expensive. It was about, like, I think $2,600. I'll put the price somewhere, but I mean, wow, I really have been waiting for a lens like this for a very long time, and I'm finally excited to be able to get it and for it to come to fruition. So is there anything that you want tested on this lens? Because I'm gonna be doing an entire series on it, reviews, first impressions, me actually going out and shooting the lens and so forth. Is there anything that you want to see? Because, you know, I'm buying this with my own money. I'm not having it sent to me by Nikon. Like, this is gonna be part of my kit for the long run. I'm so incredibly excited to use it. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think about the Nikon 135mm f1.8s Plena. And of course, there'll be plenty of opportunities to be able to go out and capture photos. So I think it's coming around mid-October. That's what I heard. So anyways, guys, that is it for this video. Please feel free to rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.